Hello! I am back with another live, uncensored video. Today is going to be a Q&A, meaning if you're here live, you can ask questions, and if you're not here live, I'm going to read through comments that other people have posted, because I actually haven't really read YouTube comments in a little bit, so I feel like I have a lot to catch up on. I have more energy than I did last week, but I'm still recovering from just everything. So last week, I talked about Jason's birthday party, and that was just so much work to put on that surprise party that took like 2.5 weeks. And then I basically, after I recorded the video that you saw last week, I immediately jumped into another big project that was equally exhausting, but on a different level. I launched my new course, or the new version of the course that I started last year, called Creative Wealth. And so if you didn't know about this yet, my big passion beyond Eco Vegan Gal is helping other content creators learn how to monetize. And last year I started this course called Creative Wealth, which is all about helping content creators learn how to make money doing what they love. And it was really fun for me. It was really rewarding, so I wanted to continue on with that. And so I finally relaunched it, and now this is like the bigger and better version of Creative Wealth. I'm so excited. I have all these incredible students in there. It's still going if it's something that you guys are interested in. The sale ended, so it's not as great of a deal as it was before, but if you missed it, it's probably because you're not on my newsletter list or paying attention to what I'm doing on my other channels and social media platforms. So I encourage you to follow me elsewhere so that you know what else is going on. And yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's just so much work. I mean, it's unbelievable how much work big projects take. I'm sure you guys can relate if you've ever done a big project of your own, and really just putting your heart into something. So for me, I tend to also work really well last minute, and it's like when I know that I have a deadline, that's when I get things done. Unfortunately, because I have the tendency to want everything to be perfect, I'm usually unsatisfied with what I'm able to get done last minute, because you start to get tired after a while, and you always have this choice. It's like, do you push through your exhaustion and keep going, or do you prioritize your sleep and your health, something that we were talking about last week? So it's really just trying to find that balance, but honestly, most nights I've only been getting like 6 hours of sleep, and that's just not enough for me. I'm like an 8 or 9 hour person when it comes to getting lots of sleep. So I still feel off track with my sleep, and thus why my energy isn't 100%. So that's a little background about where I've been, what I've been up to, and now I will check out your comments. And again, if any of you watching live have anything you want to ask about, please let me know. I'll give some shout outs. I'll basically address almost every comment here unless they happen to be really unrelated or just redundant or something. So Dory99 said, the struggle with healthcare is so real, it really stinks that it has to be so complicated. Yes. Although I feel like part of the reason it often feels complicated is when you're overwhelmed in your own life, as I've been. So really, if I just sat down and spent a few hours, maybe a day, trying to sort it all out, it'd be fine. It's just that, like I said in my last video, it's funny how like health is a priority to me in a lot of ways, or really, it's a big priority for me, but there's certain elements of health that don't feel that important, like the day-to-day, like drinking plenty of water and eating well and moving my body and all of that. Those are all super important to me, and I do that every day. Sleep, of course. I try to get lots of sleep. I try to get lots of rest. I take my B12 and my probiotics and all these other things. Like I'm constantly doing my best to take care of my health. But in terms of like going to the doctor just for a checkup, like that just feels really overwhelming to me. And so one of these days I'll figure it out. Sarah from Abundantly Minimal said that she was just commenting on the party and all that, so thank you so much for that, Sarah. And Carrie tuned in. She missed the last live recording. Carrie, I hope that you're here today, because I love having you guys here live. As a reminder, I do these videos live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so you can mark your calendar if you don't want to miss it, if you ever want to interact with me live, or, well, yeah, I guess marking your calendar, just keeping an eye out for the live stream notifications. I think you can subscribe to them if you click the little bell that's on the channel. So on any channel, I think it's next to the subscribe button, there's like a little bell icon. And if you tap on that, that will subscribe you so you'll be notified when people go live. Thank you, Lisa, for your very sweet words. And Patrick said, you're a rare flower among all the fast-growing weeds. That's a very sweet thing to say. Don't ever change. Aw, you guys can be so, so sweet. Kelly had a long comment here that I can read. So a couple weeks ago, I did a video about this. The title of the video is entitled, How Social Media Corrupts People. And it was me talking about my experience with some friends recently that have been bickering. And it's interesting because I have kind of a follow-up to that, sort of. But watch that video if you want to like really get the details. And Kelly was commenting on that, and she says that she sees Instagram as a business for content creators, and since people need to make a living, there's a lot of things mixed in there, friendship, business, etc. Her dad gave her some great advice that says separate friendship and business. And Kelly wanted to point out that she didn't think that person B was doing anything wrong. It's just sad that everyone makes assumptions about person B without hearing person B's side. And person A may be a highly sensitive person who misunderstood something. And I think those are really great points. I mean, it's a challenging thing, but very important for us to try not to judge one another or make assumptions, especially things that we hear through the grapevine. So unless we have direct experience. And in fact, that story I shared in that video, again, if you haven't watched it, this probably won't make any sense to you, but the story that I shared there, based on what I heard from my friend about an experience she had with another friend, it really was a great thing for me to think about, because I found myself kind of judging and making assumptions about person B in that story. And then I ended up seeing person B in person and had a completely different experience with that person that felt almost contradictory to what I heard from person A. And so it was that great example of like our experience of people is something that we can really only truly experience in person. It's so easy for us, and I think our culture, our society kind of feeds on this idea of judging people based on what we see and what we hear. You know, we read things in the news and the media, we see things in the gossip columns, we hear things from our friends, we hear other people's opinions online, and so we're constantly bombarded with opinions and judgments and assumptions and all this stuff, and so we kind of get into this rhythm, this habit of making assumptions and making judgments about people. And it's very tempting to fall into that trap, but one of the best practices I think that is very good for our souls, but also like good for just our dynamics with other people, is to resist making assumptions as much as possible. And if you do make assumptions, catch yourself in that act. Catch yourself in the act when it comes to communicate, or I just saw a comment about communication. Catch yourself in the act about judgment, or when you find yourself judging somebody else. And it's really amazing what you can learn about yourself when you have that awareness. And so I have to check myself on this on a regular basis. I have to work through old habits. They truly die hard. For a lot of my life, I spent time judging people, and I have this like old tendency, this old habit of engaging in drama with people that is really not in alignment with who I am and who I want to be. So I'll find myself sometimes gossiping, and then I'll be like, oh no, like what am I doing? And I have to like, now I'm getting better and better, and I'm recognizing it faster and faster, and it's just a practice. It's that opportunity to step back and go like, am I being in integrity with my word right now? And am I being the best person I possibly can be? Am I putting out good energy out there? It's so true that what you put out there comes back to you, and people can feel your energy. It's really amazing. Even if it's not even happening in person, like people can feel it. They can tell when you don't like them, or when you're judging them, or when you're saying bad things about them, when you're not being sincere with them. And it just creates this weird ripple effect energetically with people. And that just feels icky. That never feels good. What good comes out of drama and gossip? What good comes out of assumptions and judgments? Like nothing. We think that we're protecting ourselves, or maybe we're being kind of self-righteous, but it just doesn't really help us at all. What helps us is coming from a place of love and understanding, and what helps us is coming from the best person that we can be in that moment, and recognizing when we're not being our absolute best. And also not judging ourselves when we make that mistakes, because it's really easy too to get down on yourself, to beat yourself up and be like, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm judging people, I'm gossiping. Like, I feel awful when I catch myself doing that. But then I have to get into the practice of not judging myself for those mistakes and recognize I'm a flawed human being that's learning a lot and growing as a person. And so it's like, what can we do to make progress every single day? So I'll continue reading Kelly's comment, and then I see some comments coming in live. Kelly says, many people are really intelligent and can tell when someone is authentic on Instagram. The truth comes through, authenticity comes through, always. I think people's authentic nature and lifestyle is clear on Instagram, mostly due to Instagram stories, but you really have to pay attention over time. So if somebody is solely out for fame and inauthentic, time will reveal that, and that's so true. Kelly also says, what I don't care for and what I think destroys relationships is filling in parts of people's stories with their own perceptions, which are likely false, making assumptions, and deciding what someone is doing without really knowing it's dangerous. Great, lots of great notes there, Kelly, which I think really complement what I was just saying. So it's funny how we can be on the same path without even directly talking to each other. Okay, let me check in on some of the live comments coming in here. Green Dragon, thanks for being here. And Francie, Brave Blue, Spin, thanks for being here. Race to Nowhere. Avocado and Soul said, you're right, we have to form our own opinions. Sometimes it's tough to keep yourself unbiased based on what others' experiences have been. I always try to frame it as compassion. I'm such an advocate for compassion for animals, and I have to sometimes remind myself to be compassionate with other people. And you're not alone in that. I think that it's really interesting what you can see very often with people that are doing good things for animals and for the earth is they're not always in alignment with that compassion towards other people. And sometimes they don't even realize it. So part of my mission is to help people realize that. That's actually a big mission of this channel, the Uncensored channel, is like talking about awareness and consciousness and these lessons we can learn from one another. And again, it's just like, are you learning? Are you making progress? Or are you stuck in your ways? Are you stubborn? Is it hard for you to change? The more open you are to changing, adapting, growing, like that's where you're going to feel a lot of satisfaction. Because if you're stubborn just for the sake of resistance, there's a dead energy there over time. You know, I found this yesterday. I had a little like mini breakdown. Breakdown's really not the right word, but I like cried in front of a friend because I was feeling really stressed out about something. And she actually encouraged me to make a video about that. I guess if I had thought about this earlier, this whole video would have been dedicated to this, but it's not too late yet. So I'm going on a trip this weekend to Vegas with some friends, or a friend of mine, for her bachelorette party. And it's basically like her, some of her siblings, and then some of her friends. And I don't really know anybody else. I think I'm the only vegan. I think I'm the only one with food preferences and food sensitivities. And I also have a lot of other things that I have preferences about, especially when it comes to travel. Like sleep, for example. Like I like staying up late, but I like staying up late by my own or with like one other person. I'm not someone that likes to rage all night and get drunk and like be really loud and crazy and like pass out. Like that's not me. It never has been me. And that energy like feels uncomfortable to me. And so in my head, I've kind of been building up stories about what this weekend is going to be like. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be the only vegan there. They're not going to want to eat any of the same food as me. I'm going to be stuck going to restaurants where there's no options for me. I'm going to be stuck like hanging out with all these drunk people that I have nothing in common with. Like I basically built up all these stories about something I hadn't even experienced. And I was sharing this with my friend yesterday, and she really like helped talk me through it. And first of all, there was a great lesson in not projecting into the future because we never know what the future will hold. But it's like not making assumptions, and it's not making assumptions about so many things. I was actually afraid that I was going to be the odd one out. I was going to be the weird one on this trip. Like I was going to be that weird vegan girl who doesn't want to do all the crazy Vegas stuff and wants to go to bed early. And like I thought I was going to be like the old grandma, the Debbie Downer. Like that was my fear of people perceiving me as that. And my friend was just reminding me that A, I can't control how other people perceive me, but B, it's like maybe they won't even think those things about me, so why am I even bothering worrying about it? And this sounds so obvious now, but sometimes we get caught in our heads over things. And I realized I had so much stress and anxiety about this trip, and I was just allowing it to eat away at me, and I was allowing it to control me, and it was just kind of like getting caught in this what's the word I want to use, like whirlwind of anxiety, and that just kept, growing larger and larger and larger. And talking it through with a friend was great, so I encourage you guys to do that if you're ever in that situation. But also, I talked directly to my friend who's having this bachelor party, and I let her know how I was feeling, and she said some really kind words that helped to make feel a lot better. So sometimes just letting people who are involved know how you're feeling, they can help you reflect back the reality of what's happening. And she was like, no, everybody's so excited to spend time with you, and everyone's really gonna enjoy this whole weekend, and we're gonna have such a great time. And her positivity about this made me feel so much better. So I'm really glad that I reached out to her, and I reached out to another friend who's not involved at all to get some perspective. And maybe next week I can talk about the experience, because I'll be back from that and likely also exhausted once again, because going to Vegas for a bachelorette party is likely going to be an exhausting experience. So, yeah. I don't know why I keep putting myself in these exhausting situations. Thank goodness for water, right? Okay. Kelly said, I want to see a video on your family because I think it's such a needed topic, and a topic that every single listener can relate to. I also love the topic of evolving and transformation. And once you do evolve, you do not see the world the same, or many people. It's part of growth and maturity. Yes, I would really love to talk about that, and I keep thinking about it, but I guess I just haven't felt inspired in the past few weeks to dig into that. But I had sometimes I just need to record when I feel really inspired. As much as I love doing these weekly live videos here, it's like the scheduled time, which is very different from when I just record when I'm inspired. So I think I'm going to do both. That way you guys can be there when I'm really going through something and really wanting to talk about it. Okay, and Rachel noted the skateboarding video I mentioned in a couple videos ago called How I Combat Doubt. I mentioned this awesome skateboarding video, which again, go check out my video about doubt if you're curious about that topic. Zigzag said, I would love for you to do a video about the dynamics of the relationship with your mother and how that has contributed to who you are and what you struggle with as an adult. Yes, this is exactly it. I think I just need to get into the zone. Today doesn't feel like the right time to get into that because this is a deep topic. It's a sensitive topic. I'll probably cry, and that's fine because I think a lot of you guys can relate to it. By the way, I think I'm going to take a few drops of this, so if you're curious what I'm about to put in my mouth, it is, and this camera is not showing. Oh, here we go. These are called Happy Drops, and this is from this company called Calm a Mama. I got these from the Goddess Provisions box, which is my new favorite subscription box. I'm really obsessed with it. And these drops are rose-flavored drops with chamomile in them. So they're good for relaxing you. They taste amazing. And they instantly make me happy because I'm obsessed with anything rose-flavored. So recommend it if you're on the same page. Zigzag also said that viewers of social media have no idea how someone achieves so many views and likes, and if they came to it honestly, they can just see the numbers and think this person may be worth checking out. If there was an authenticity or trustworthy button, judgmental as it would be, people would become more selective in who they follow. Unless you know someone well, you probably don't know what drives them to do what they do, whether it be an intangible situation like financial pressures, expectations of others, etc. I work in the corporate world, and many days I feel like I'm masquerading as a professional, but there are certain norms I'm expected to conform to. Whether I like it or not, this goes with my job. Very interesting points there. 68 Bakersfield said, I did an experiment once. I added my birthday to Facebook and got at least 50 birthday wishes. And then the year after that, I changed my settings to keep the date private, and maybe 5 people remembered. I found this to be very interesting. Another interesting thing is how many people who are your friends feel like scrolling through your feed instead of checking in and actually meeting in real life. It's so difficult to maintain deep, authentic relationships, and yes, I mostly blame social media. People have become super lazy / glued to their screens. I've deactivated Facebook at least 4 times, but keep on coming back because all my friends and family members use it, and I feel isolated without it. What a trap. Wow, how many of you guys can relate to that? I think a lot of us can. I felt horrible because a few weeks ago it was my friend's birthday and I completely forgot. And she's one of those people that it really means a lot to her when you wish her happy birthday. And it was the most awful feeling as a friend because I felt like a jerk and I felt helpless because the date had already passed. And so even though I told her I was very sorry, you know, I couldn't really make up for it. And I think social media has shifted a lot of that. I remember like growing up in college, like all these times before social media got like really big, like I would write all my friends' birthdays down on my calendar. They're still on my calendar, most of them. But then like after a while, you have so many contacts, at least I do, like in the work that I do in the city that I live in, it's like, you know so many people, or I know so many people, I'll speak for myself, like, and so it's like writing everyone's date on your calendar. It's like every day it's someone else's birthday, and like I already dread writing emails and text messages, so like having to like compose a really nice happy birthday message like is a lot for me, but that's kind of a selfish thing. I guess like maybe what this has taught me is to write down for people that really care. Like I don't really care, there's only like certain people in my life that I really want to hear happy birthday from, but I don't need to hear it from everyone. Like Facebook's gotten really out of control because you'll get like hundreds of messages in some cases, depending on how many friends you have on Facebook. But my point is that social media really has changed things because I remember like creating individual cards for everybody's birthdays. I was really into e-cards. I was into physical cards for a while, like buying gifts for people. Like birthdays used to be such a big deal. And now social media, it's like you can literally just type HBD on somebody's Facebook wall and that counts as wishing them happy birthday. But knowing which one of your friends it's really meaningful for is the most important. And speaking of which, I bought a birthday card for Jason because Jason is like, he loves cards, and we've known each other, we've probably celebrated like 6 birthdays with each other, maybe 7 at this point. And in the past, he's gotten upset with me when I haven't given him a card. This year, I got him a card, but I haven't written in it yet, and thus I haven't given it to him. But, of course, I gave him the huge surprise party, so I think I get a pass, but I feel like I need to give him this card, so I'm going to give him like this really belated birthday card, and I don't know if that quite has the same effect. Okay, well, there's so many great comments, you guys. I mean, I just like am so grateful, and I wish that I felt, you know, it was easier for me on an energetic level to like type written responses to you. I often feel like I'm just overwhelmed in communication. It's like, I've talked about this before, but coming back to social media, like since my work is on social media, when I add up all the different places that communication comes from, it's so overwhelming for me. Email, text messages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, multiple YouTube channels. I mean, I guess like maybe there's probably like 10 different places that communication is coming from on top of all the actual work that I do. So it just like feels so hard to respond, and I just want you guys to know that even if I don't respond, I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I do want to make a point too, for people like 68 Bakersfield, if Facebook doesn't feel like the right place for you and you want deeper connections with people, that's why I created Eco Vegan Pal. If you haven't heard me talk about it yet, that's my membership platform that just really got the momentum a few months ago and is really just still building speed. There's a lot to come with that, and I have 2 membership communities right now, so I've been working on one, and Eco Vegan Pal has been, you know, sometimes goes on the back burner, but what I'm just working towards with Eco Vegan Pal is a private community that's off all the social media networks where you guys can form deep connections with one another. And right now, it's kind of just like its own social media network, or it's like a forum kind of. You can go on there and see where everybody lives, where like not exactly, but like what cities they live in. You can see who lives closest to you. You can see what shared interests you have. You can connect with others, send private messages. It's a really amazing, beautiful platform. And in the future, what I'm working towards is live events. And speaking of that, if any of you are in Los Angeles, I've started doing live events a lot more frequently. I have 2 coming up in August. I don't think I have any left this month, but I should say 3 coming up in August. So I have, 1 is a conference that I'm speaking at, 1 is a meetup that's open to the public, and the 3rd is for YouTubers. So if you fall into any of these categories, the conference is for content creators mainly, or anybody who wants to build a brand out of their passions around veganism and wellness. The meetup is a kind of like a complement to that conference, but again, it's open to the public, anybody that wants to come, although there's only going to be like 21 spots available, and trying to figure out where it's going to be. There's still some logistics there, but the conference is on August 19th in Los Angeles. The meetup is on August 20th in Los Angeles, and then I don't know exactly what date it's happening next, but I have the YouTube meetup at YouTube Space in Playa Vista, which is in Los Angeles, and I'm so excited about that, you guys. That's another thing I did last week. I ran the first vegan mastermind group at YouTube, and it was such a success. I'm so thrilled about this. It's free and open to any vegan YouTubers, and if you want more information, let me know, or I can put a link in the description. But beyond that, I will be doing events as part of Eco Vegan Pal all across the country and hopefully the world at some point. So there'll probably be Eco Vegan Pal happening somewhere on the East Coast in September, and I'll try to get that set up as soon as possible if you guys want to be part of it. And it'll probably be open to members only, but I'm still trying to figure that out since Eco Vegan Pal is still brand new, and I really want a lot of you guys to meet each other. So maybe it'll be open to the public with like perks for members or whatever it is. But if you are really looking for a place to connect with me on another level, meet other people, and do that off of the other major social media networks, which may be overwhelming to you or just not what you're looking for, that's what Eco Vegan Pal is for. And I still have a special going on right now where if you join for an annual membership of Eco Vegan Pal, I'm going to send you a special care package that's going to be customized to you. And I have a few left, limited quantities of them, and that promotion will be running, I think, through the end of July. So let me know if you have any questions. I will link to it, or you can just go to ecoveganpal.com. And if any of you guys want the links for anything else I mentioned, if I forget to put it in the description, just remind me in a comment and I'll send it to you as soon as possible. I think I'm going to wrap this up and go take a stroll with Miss Evie over there, who's sound asleep, and get some fresh air, re-energize myself to get some more work done. But let me check and see. I think there was at least one other comment that came through live. Okay, so Race to Nowhere said, it's 3 a.m. in Italy, I have to leave, so sorry. Love your channel, I've been vegan since 1999 and consider your content spot on. Wow, thank you. I think you've already left, but that's amazing. You've been vegan longer than I have. Wow, that's incredible. You're coming up in almost 20 years. Carl said, sometimes I dress up my dog in my sister's clothes and pretend it's... that was definitely a spam comment, so... Wow, interesting one. Okay, I'm glad I didn't read that whole thing. Did any of you guys read that? That was quite something. All right, well, interesting note to end on. I'm going to get going. Thank you guys for being here, whether you were watching live or the recording. I can't convey enough how much each of you mean to me, even if I don't know you very well yet. I hope to get to know you better. I hope to see you on these live streams and in the comments. You can always private message me. You can email me. You can Facebook message me, tweet at me, Instagram message me, whatever, Snapchat me, whatever you want. I'm there. And again, sometimes it takes me a while to reply, but I read every single message that comes into my inbox. It's just a matter of time. And you can always put like urgent in it or something like that if you need a response really fast. But I'm always thinking of new ways to support you guys, and I'm here for you. So that's it for today. I'll see you very soon. I'll see you at the very latest next Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And wishing you the very best in the meantime. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.